So to give you an example, let's create our own sentence. Why not use the same motive again? So there's my basic idea. Here it's repeated. And then I will have 2 more measures to finish up my sentence. Now a sentence could be 8 measures, just like a period, and in fact it probably should be, but we'll just go with a 4-measure sentence. Okay, you can see my rhythm gets much more exciting toward the end. That's typical of a sentence. You can see my basic idea repeats, and then I have more activity and I end on the tonic. Let's hear how this sentence sounds. So there's an example of a sentence. One other thing to consider when you think about melody is something called text setting. Now, not every melody has text, obviously. If I write a melody for an instrument, it won't have any text. But lots of music that we write does have text. It has words that are sung, and that's what the text is. Now, a lot of the time you might listen to the radio and hear things where you can't really understand what the singer is saying. And a lot of the time it's due to poor text setting. Now, it's important in singing, just like in speaking, that we put the emphasis in the right place in the word. In other words, we don't put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, right? I'm sure you've heard that expression before. Well, in music it's the same way. And the way we do this is mostly by remembering what the strong beats in our time signature are and matching those to the words and syllables that would be stressed if we were to speak that sentence. So, just for an example, let's say I want to write a song in 4/4 time, and for my text, I would like the text to be something like, these are the words to my song. Okay, that's a good text to set. So, let's say, again, we're going to go for 4/4 time just because it's very common. And the first thing I would think about is, what are the strong beats in 4/4? Beat 1 and beat 3. Okay, so now what words here or syllables do I stress when I say it out loud? These are the words to my song. I stress these words and song, correct? So I know that these words and song should probably fall on beat 1 or beat 3. I don't want to put 2 on beat 1 or beat 3 because I wouldn't say these are the words to my song. And I don't want to put R on beat 1 or beat 3 because I wouldn't say these are the words to my song. Okay, so keeping that in mind, I could just do something really simple, like, these are the words to my song. That works, right? So it's important, and it's much easier than you might think to put the stress on the wrong syllable. So it's really important before you set the words to music to figure out which are the words you would stress. This sentence doesn't have too many words that would sound really ridiculous, or syllables. Let's try one that would be a little more complicated. How about, we don't want to be misunderstood? Now that's a complicated sentence, right? Lots of syllables in the words, and of course, if we set it incorrectly, we will be misunderstood, so that's why I chose this one. So again, let's think. We don't want to be misunderstood. We stress we definitely stress stood, right? We don't want to be misunderstood. And in between, we don't want to be misunderstood. We definitely don't want to stress der or to be, probably not don't either. But maybe we could stress don't. What if, now there are two ways to say this sentence, right? We could say we don't want to be misunderstood, or we don't want to be misunderstood. Actually, I think I like stressing don't better. So that gives us a new problem. It's the second word, but we want it on a stressed beat. And we probably don't want to hold we for 2 beats, because that would be silly. This calls for an anacrusis, or a pickup, right? So if we're in 4/4, remember, hopefully you read in your book about pickups or anacrusis, where you have a partial measure at the beginning of the music that doesn't have the full 4 or however many beats you need to have. So here we're going to have a pickup. We don't. Now I have these words to fit in maybe the next 2 beats. I like want on the 3rd beat because it's something we want to sort of stress. We don't want to stress these at all, so we'll put them together as 8th notes on the 4th beat. Good, we can put stood on beat 3, which is also a nice strong beat. So let's try that. We don't want to be misunderstood. Good? Let's try setting it badly, just as a comparison. What if we did something, let's say it one more time, just to remember what it sounded like. We don't want to be misunderstood. Let's try saying it that way. We don't want to be misunderstood. Didn't sound good, did it? No. So that's why it's really important to set text carefully. Of course, along with rhythms, contour when we're speaking is also important. And sometimes one way to make sure the speech falls naturally in a musical manner when we set it to music is to imagine the contour of how our voice goes up and down when we say the words out loud. So back to using these are the words to my song. If I say that out loud, these are the words to my song. I start high and I go low. If I were asking a question, I might go up at the end. And my contour goes a little, these are the words to my song. It goes a little bit up at words. So let's make it in major. And let's say I'm going to start on the dominant, which is also a somewhat common pitch to start on if you don't start on the tonic. Any member of the tonic triad, the tonic or the mediant or the dominant, would all be okay notes to start your melody on. So I'm going to start on the dominant. And I'm going to go up a little bit here. So I'm going to go, these are the okay. Let's hear how that sounds.